Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, an exit strategy, and now amid serious allegations, Harry and Meghan have gone silent. Harry once told Anderson Cooper silence is betrayal.
Tyler Perry, the man who once protected Harry and Meghan, could now be the one to bring their entire story crashing down. After Meghan's mysterious silence on Perry's $260 million lawsuit, insiders claim the truth is about to be unleashed. Secrets, lies, and a carefully crafted narrative that could shatter their brand forever. What if everything they've told us was nothing but a well-rehearsed act? Stick around, because this story is about to take a turn no one saw coming. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made their dramatic exit from the royal family, it wasn't the Netflix deals or Spotify podcasts that kept them afloat. It was Tyler Perry. The Hollywood mogul didn't just offer them a place to stay. He gave them something far more valuable: privacy. In the chaos that surrounded their departure from the UK, Perry's Los Angeles mansion became their safe haven, shielded from the paparazzi, the press, and the relentless public eye. This wasn't just a roof over their heads, it was the peace they desperately craved. Perry's role went beyond that of a kind host. He provided them with legitimacy in the glitzy world of Hollywood, a world where their royal titles were both a blessing and a curse. He helped them transition from royals to A-list celebrities, offering not only his home, but his connections, his influence, and crucially, his loyalty. In exchange, the Sussexes granted him a symbolic honor, the title of godfather to their daughter, Lily. But here's where things take a strange turn. There was no christening, no official ceremony, and no public acknowledgement from the palace. The Godfather title was simply dropped in their Netflix docuseries, a casual mention that raised eyebrows. Skeptics questioned the authenticity of this gesture, but at the time, many let it slide.
Strategically placed loyalty can mean survival. If Harry and Meghan backed Perry, it could encourage others to do the same. But instead, their silence feels like pure self-preservation.
Now, with everything in question, the doubts are growing louder. Was this title genuine, or just another piece of the Sussexes' carefully constructed PR campaign? What seemed like a touching act of family loyalty now feels more like a strategic move, and it's only the beginning of the story. Tyler Perry's world took a sudden and unexpected turn when he was hit with a massive $260 million lawsuit over workplace misconduct. The scandal rocked his reputation, shaking the very foundation of the support he had long given to Harry and Meghan. Perry, who once defended the Sussexes publicly and stood by their side during their Oprah interview, now found himself facing a legal battle that threatened his empire. But what did Meghan and Harry do in the wake of this? They went silent. At first, it seemed like just a minor shift, perhaps a temporary step back while the dust settled. But as the weeks passed, Meghan's silence became deafening. Social media posts were deleted, mentions of Perry vanished, and photos that once celebrated their friendship were erased from their feeds. It was as if Tyler Perry had never been a part of their story at all. Once the cornerstone of their new life in America, he now seemed to be nothing more than a ghost in their narrative. This silence isn't just about avoiding an uncomfortable situation. Legal experts claim that this could be far more significant. The theory circulating behind closed doors is that Perry and the Sussexes had a private non-disclosure agreement, NDA, with a twist. If Perry were ever publicly cut off or erased, he would be legally free to speak out, and that's where things get dangerous. Meghan's digital erasure may have unknowingly activated a clause that now allows Perry to reveal everything: emails, private calls, voice memos, and other potential evidence that could turn the entire Sussex story upside down. So, why the silence? Was it a simple act of self-preservation, or is something much bigger at play? If Perry does speak, what secrets could he expose? And how much of the story we've been told is really the truth? Harry once told Anderson Cooper, "Silence is betrayal." It's a powerful statement, especially coming from someone who's made their name fighting against the silence imposed on them by the royal family. But what happens when they go silent? What does it mean when Meghan, who has consistently used her voice to advocate for justice, decides not to speak out in the face of a scandal involving someone who once offered them sanctuary? This silence isn't just a lack of communication, it's a strategic move. When the news broke about Perry's lawsuit, the Sussexes had a choice: stand by him publicly or retreat into the shadows. They chose silence, and in doing so, they may have activated a chain of events they never expected. The world was watching, and the absence of support for Perry left many questioning their integrity. There's an undeniable power in silence, but it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, silence can be a shield, protecting you from the mess and the controversy. On the other hand, it can speak volumes, especially when the silence is seen as a deliberate withdrawal of support. Was this simply a case of avoiding a messy situation, or was it something more calculated? Silence has a way of telling a story of its own, and in this case, it's making the world wonder, what are they hiding? By stepping back, Meghan and Harry may have triggered a legal loophole, one that gives Perry the freedom to reveal things that were meant to stay private. What happens next could destroy the narrative they've worked so hard to maintain. Because when someone as powerful as Perry holds the keys to the truth, silence doesn't just protect, it can ultimately destroy. What if Perry holds the key to exposing everything? Sources close to the situation suggest that Perry may be sitting on a goldmine of evidence: emails, voice memos, and private recordings that could tear apart the carefully crafted image of the Sussexes. The whispers are growing louder. What if Perry's receipts show that everything was planned from the start? The emotional interviews, the tear-filled confessions, the carefully timed media appearances, what if these weren't just raw emotions spilling out, but rehearsed, scripted moments designed to manipulate public opinion and create a brand built on vulnerability? Perry, it turns out, wasn't just offering his home and support. He was deeply involved in the behind-the-scenes creation of the Sussexes' new public persona. If Perry does decide to release these recordings, these receipts, what will they reveal? Could they prove that their carefully constructed narrative of freedom, healing, and authenticity was nothing more than a brand strategy? What if their personal pain and struggles were not entirely theirs to own, but part of a larger, calculated marketing campaign? These recordings, if real, could change the public's perception of Harry and Meghan forever, transforming them from freedom fighters to celebrities who built their empire on a foundation of carefully curated half-truths. The question now is, will Perry speak out? And if he does, will the public be able to handle the truth? What lies beneath the surface of their story might be more complicated and far darker than anyone imagined. The art of controlling the narrative is one the Sussexes have mastered. Time and time again, they've turned personal struggles into global conversations, managing to shift focus whenever their image was threatened. Whether it was emotional interviews, heartfelt confessions, or the perfectly timed photo op, everything seemed carefully choreographed to maintain the public's sympathy. They've built a brand on authenticity, transparency, and the idea of a life lived on their own terms. But what if that authenticity was manufactured? Take a look at the pattern. Whenever things seemed to go wrong, Meghan and Harry would release something to shift the focus. When scandal broke, they would drop a lifestyle blog post, or Meghan would post a dreamy photo on Instagram, all designed to pull attention away from the storm. This wasn't just about managing their image, it was about controlling the story. But now, with Perry's lawsuit dominating the headlines, the usual PR tactics seem less effective. As the scandal with Perry unfolded, what did Meghan do? She deleted posts, erased mentions, and distanced herself from the very man who once helped launch their Hollywood career. Hashtags like Tyler Knows All are gaining traction, and former fans are starting to rethink everything they've been told. The carefully curated narrative is beginning to unravel, and people are questioning whether everything about the Sussexes' life in America was nothing more than a PR stunt, a branding exercise, not a journey of personal freedom and truth. If Perry's receipts come to light, that narrative might not just crumble, it could shatter entirely, turning the Sussexes' image from a story of liberation to one of manipulation. When Perry was named godfather to Harry and Meghan's daughter Lily, it seemed like a heartwarming gesture, a symbol of their close, trusted relationship. But in hindsight, the lack of official records surrounding the title raises some serious questions. No public christening, no verified details, and certainly no confirmation from the royal family. Just a fleeting mention in their Netflix docuseries, almost as if it were an afterthought. What was once seen as a touching nod to chosen family now feels more like a carefully placed piece in a larger media strategy. Why does it matter? Because this godfather title was meant to signify something profound, a lifelong bond, a commitment to protect and guide. Yet, with nothing concrete to back it up, it raises suspicions about its authenticity. Was it truly a family gesture or just a strategic PR move designed to add emotional weight to their narrative? The title had the potential to lend legitimacy to the Sussexes' new life in Hollywood. After all, what better way to show your new start than with a godfather who's a Hollywood mogul? As the news of Tyler Perry's lawsuit spread, so did the public's skepticism. Hashtags like #TylerKnowsAll and #LilibetTruth are now taking over social media, gaining serious traction among fans, critics, and curious onlookers alike. What was once a couple beloved for their openness and authenticity is now facing a tidal wave of doubt as more and more people begin to question the true nature of their carefully curated narrative. The backlash isn't just a whisper, it's turning into a loud, uncontrollable roar. Meghan and Harry's usual strategy of spinning the narrative with perfectly timed posts is no longer working. When they dropped their image-heavy blog posts and family photos to distract from Perry's legal drama, the public response was far from favorable. Followers who had once supported them are now feeling duped, their loyalty slipping away as they question everything they've been fed. One tweet that went viral summed it up perfectly. "We defended Meghan when it mattered, but if this was all a lie, we were used." It's a devastating statement for a couple that built their empire on the idea of truth and transparency. If Perry reveals that much of what we've been told was part of a meticulously crafted emotional PR campaign, the public will feel betrayed, not just by Harry and Meghan, but by the very story they've been promoting for years. The truth is, social media isn't just a platform for fan engagement anymore. It's become a battleground. Every new post from Meghan is met with suspicion. Every photo is dissected, analyzed, and questioned. Even the most loyal followers are starting to hesitate, unsure of where the real story ends and the media manipulation begins. If Perry's receipts come to light, the backlash will only intensify, leaving the Sussexes with the difficult task of rebuilding a reputation that might already be beyond repair. The stakes have never been higher for Harry and Meghan. If Tyler Perry decides to speak, the fallout could go far beyond public embarrassment. There are serious legal consequences at play. Legal experts suggest that Perry's revelations could open a Pandora's box of breach of contract claims, fraud accusations, and even defamation suits. If Perry exposes any of the supposed receipts that contradict the narrative the Sussexes have sold, it could set off a series of legal battles that could financially cripple them, especially considering their lucrative deals with Netflix, Spotify, and other high-profile partners. The potential legal implications of Perry's disclosures could be disastrous. If it's proven that their carefully crafted image was based on manipulated storylines or fabricated events, the consequences for their brand could be immediate and severe. Netflix and Spotify, among others, could reconsider their contracts, pulling episodes or canceling deals altogether. A breach of contract claim could lead to massive fines, and it's not out of the question that Harry and Meghan could find themselves facing lawsuits worth millions. But the legal fallout won't stop there. If Perry's recordings or private conversations confirm that the Sussexes were not only manipulating the media but monetizing a fake narrative, it could result in a complete collapse of their public credibility. It's not just about a PR nightmare at this point. It's a matter of intellectual property, reputational damage, and financial ruin. This isn't a small dispute. It's a potential legal reckoning that could completely rewrite the Sussexes' post-royal journey. The success they've built in Hollywood, the partnerships, the endorsements, all of it rests on their image of honesty and authenticity. If Perry reveals the truth, it could destroy everything they've worked so hard to build. The tension between Tyler Perry and the Sussexes has reached a boiling point, and now, the question remains, will the man who once helped create their new narrative become the one to destroy it? Perry's silence has been deafening, and if he chooses to break it, the fallout could be catastrophic. The carefully crafted image of Harry and Meghan, one built on authenticity, healing, and freedom, could collapse under the weight of what Perry allegedly knows. With potential legal battles, shattered public trust, and the unraveling of a carefully curated brand, the Sussexes' future hangs in the balance. In the end, it's not just about the scandal, it's about what happens when the truth comes out. Tyler Perry holds the receipts, and if he decides to expose them, the world will finally know what's behind the curtain of their carefully constructed story. If that moment comes, there may be no going back. The illusion of control that Harry and Meghan have relied on could evaporate in an instant, leaving them to face the consequences of their narrative being shattered for good. The question isn't if Tyler Perry will speak, it's what will happen when he does. And when the truth is exposed, will their carefully built empire survive the crash?